This Mojave ball python laid a clutch of eggs.
She was being a little bit feisty, so I used the snake hook to distract her so I could pull the eggs without getting bit.
Once I removed her, I discovered that she laid 6 pearly white eggs. Next, I took the eggs and I transferred them into an egg box, and then I marked each of the eggs with an X. Marking the eggs helps me identify which way is up so I don't accidentally rotate the eggs during incubation. These ball python eggs are 21 days from hatching.
These eggs are nice and plump, which is exactly what you want to see at this stage of incubation.
It means that the eggs are being maintained at the proper humidity level. These ball python eggs are now 2 weeks away from hatching. You can see that the eggs are now starting to dimple, which is normal for this stage of incubation. This egg has a little egg window, which is just a portion of the egg that didn't fully calcify. The baby that hatches out of that egg might be a little bit smaller, but it shouldn't cause any health issues. These ball python eggs are on day 56 of incubation, so they are very close to hatching.
I could feel the snakes inside the egg responding to my touch, but there's no pips yet.
I'll get these eggs back in the incubator and we'll check up on them tomorrow. These eggs are on day 57 of incubation and still no pips. The babies are still responding to my touch, so they are alive in there. They're likely absorbing that last little bit of yolk to build up the energy to slice open the egg. These ball python eggs are on day 58 of incubation and they're starting to hatch. This little one already popped its head out of the egg, and this is what they typically do. They'll sit like this for about a day or two.
On this egg, you can see how the snake used its egg tooth to slice open the shell.
The shell of a snake egg is soft, which is why baby snakes can easily slice open the egg with their sharp egg tooth. And you can see on this egg that the shell is pretty sliced up. The snake should be popping his head out any time now. It looks like this snake is just starting to pip. There's only 2 small slices in the eggshell. I don't see any pips on these last 2 eggs, but they'll likely start very soon. I'll get these eggs back in the incubator, and in about a day or so they should start crawling out.
These ball pythons are on day 59 of incubation.
And all but one of the snakes have pipped. After glancing at these snakes' color and pattern combinations, it looks like we have some GHIs, some Mojaves, and some GHI Mojave combinations. The GHI Mojave combination is one of my favorite, and as soon as they crawl out of the egg, I'll show you all what it looks like. I am a little bit concerned about the egg that hasn't pipped yet. It was the egg that had the egg window in it. Since all of the other snakes in the clutch have hatched already, it makes me wonder if that snake needs a little bit of help.
I'll give the snake another day to pip. If it doesn't pip by then, I'll consider cutting open the egg to see if the snake is alright.
It's been 48 hours since this clutch of ball pythons started hatching. All of the snakes have been poking their heads in and out of the egg, except for one egg, who hasn't pipped yet. So after careful consideration, I decided to cut this egg open to make sure the snake was okay. At this point in time, the snake is fully developed, so cutting open the egg is safe. When I cut open the egg, I'm looking for any deformities or any issues that may be causing the snake not to be able to hatch on its own. Sometimes the snake could be tangled up in its yolk stem, which is similar to an umbilical cord, which can restrict nutrients to the snake and also restrict its movement.
I don't see any issues here, so I'm gonna get this little one back in the incubator and I'll let him crawl out when he's ready.
These ball pythons are on day 60 of incubation, and it looks like most of them crawled out. The pairing was a GHI male to a Mojave female. And this snake right here is a combination of both. It's a GHI Mojave.
And it is absolutely beautiful. Probably my favorite snake of this clutch.
And this is a nice Mojave. It's got some really unique markings on it. And we got another GHI Mojave combinations. This combination of genes is one of my favorites. There's still 2 more snakes that need to crawl out. We'll check up on them later and see what they are. These ball pythons hatched 6 days ago and they're starting to shed. You could see the difference between 2 snakes that already shed and the rest that didn't. These 2 snakes have already shed. You could tell by their bright and vibrant color. The rest of the clutch looks kind of shiny and their colors are muted. It's because that old layer of skin is already separated from the new layer of skin and they're just waiting to shed it off.
These ball pythons are 7 days old and they just had their first shed.
I love the dark and light contrast that's going on with this clutch. This little GHI hasn't quite shed yet. But if you remember, this was the last snake to crawl out of the egg, so naturally it's a little bit behind its clutch mates. By tomorrow, it should be fully shed. I'll separate it from the clutch and give it a stone so it could take its time to shed. This is the other GHI Mojave that we hatched, and it's an absolutely amazing color combination. And here are the other 3 single gene Mojaves that we hatched, and they look great after shedding. Now that the snakes shed out, I'll separate them all into their own enclosure. And I'll set up this last one with a rock and a water dish so it could finish shedding.
It could use that rock to help scrape off the rest of the shed.
And now that the snakes are all done shedding, in a few days I'll offer them their first meal.